Good afternoon. It's Veterans Talk. And then, but it's a thing we want you to tune into every Saturday evening. I'm Eldson McGhee, your host, and I'm here today with, as usual, with my brothers in arm and brothers in Christ. Jimmy, how you doing, bro?
I'm doing real good, Robert McGee. Kind of warm out there today, but everything else is going right along pretty good.
Tony, how you doing, bro?
I'm doing fine. And it's summer in Georgia, so it's always hot.
Yes, this is summer in Georgia, man. That I always tell people I didn't come here. I'm from here. D, how you doing, baby?
I'm doing okay, sir. How you doing?
It's good to see you again.
Yes,
You know,
it's a
after
blessing.
so many years.
Yes.
First encounter was when I was pastoring Omega Holiness Church on Memorial Drive, and you're still fighting the good fight.
Fighting it hard. Yes,
You
I
know,
am.
And I'm gonna tell you, you got a very interesting case because see, our whole program is about the plight of veterans in the USA and USA with the plight of veterans, and your case always your kind of case because it's not new, right? It's not something different. But I want you to introduce yourself first of all and talk to the audience about
Okay.
what you had.
Well, first of all, I'm Diane Dixon. I'm from Atlanta, Georgia, and I again first met Pastor McGhee, being that I salute all of these men on the panel for their service and their time. I'm a baby up under them, but however, I got hurt in basic training, and
There we go.
with me being hurt, I was always told that I didn't have enough time in the military to receive any kind of benefits. So at that time, you being green, you don't know any better. You go forth. So that was back in 78 to 79 when I served because I got hurt with what they call Achilles tendonitis. I went in, physical was just awesome. But then when I got in basic, I developed Achilles tendonitis from the combat boots. So I was in formation all the time in typical belt wear in all stars. And in formation.
Now,
Yeah.
you know, what you're saying is a lot of people don't realize this because they don't do claims. I've been doing claims since 1975, and I know that this is not something new. It's really about the fight, though. Most people just give up. So tell us why you didn't give up because most people get knocked down by the VA
Yeah.
with that kind of case. They give
Absolutely.
up.
Absolutely. Well, again, like I said, I had no ground, so the military didn't even know anything about me. They told me they didn't know anything about me. And at that time, I think it was in 2000 when I had my first knee surgery and I went out to the VA. They said, we can't help you. We can do. And I said, I served in the military, but they had no record. They had nothing on me. And so from 2000 up until I met Pastor McGhee, and he began to give me paperwork and what have you. So I really say I throw it in the towel when I was in 78, 79 when I got out. But it didn't kick off until 2000 when I tried to get some help on my own, didn't know anything. And then when I met you, you began to try to help me. And that's when I just went full force and saying, no, I'm getting what's due to me. I'm going to fight this good fight.
Yeah.
And so I began to send in the paperwork that you had given me to different places, but they kept coming back to me saying that my information was in the wrong place. And so I still said, no, this was 2021, 22. I stayed at it about a year and two. I said, nope, I'm still going to keep, pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing. And so at that point, I said, okay, then. They said, well, we sending your stuff off. You sent some information, but we send it somewhere else. But they don't have a record of you. They still don't know anything about me. So 2025, one of my friend girls' brother was in the military in Vietnam. And the gentleman had given her a number for a brother because he was fighting for his benefits. He was getting, I guess, maybe 10%. And so, however, she passed the number on to me. And I got in touch with the gentleman, and I'm full force now. Yeah.
Well, that's
so,
great news
yeah.
because one of the things that we don't stop to think when we go into the military, we go in to serve, and
Mhm.
and that is an exam. You know, you're not gonna get in the military unless you're physically fit.
Amen. Amen.
You
Yeah,
gotta be
yeah,
physically fit,
absolutely.
and the basic training. And I've seen this in a lot of cases. And I'm probably sure Jimmy's seen that probably, you know, and especially with the Marines because they're crazy. I'm not joking. But I mean, I'm talking about the rigor of the training, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
the
yeah,
rigor
yeah,
of the
yeah.
training
Hardcore, yeah.
actually cause mental breakdowns.
Mhm.
And some people really
Mhm.
that go into the military for a bit, and then there are also the physical training with the boots and the backpack and
Oh,
the
yeah.
vest and
Mhm.
all of the things that our families don't know that this is a part of what that loved ones are going into.
Mhm.
And the military is such a way we don't communicate. You know, we don't communicate to our families what's going on.
Mhm.
And I'm thinking that that's got to be something that got to be stopped
Mhm.
because you was about to say something, Jim.
No, no. Go ahead, Reverend McGhee. I was just gonna.
that-
I'm curious about when she got out. You say you got
It-
hurt in boot
Yeah,
camp.
yeah. Well, I went in 78,
Uh-huh.
Army National Guard, and then I went in basic,
Uh-huh.
and then I came out in 79 when they told me that I had Achilles tendonitis. They told me that either they can do surgery or I can come back to civilian life, let it mend itself together, and re-enlist. But I just didn't do that.
You didn't do that.
No.
I mean, you got a discharge. You got a DD.
Oh, and I got it out with the honorable
You got a
discharge.
DD 214.
Yeah, DD 214, honorable discharge,
Okay.
sharpshooter. Yeah, I mean, I did my thing.
Okay.
The fastest one, putting the gas mask on.
So they do have a record of you.
Right, but they told me they know nothing of me. I'm just now this year, what's this 26 last year getting my military medical card.
Now let me intervene here because see, and I don't want anybody to be confused about the process because the VA don't know anything about us.
Okay.
The VA, yeah.
Until we get our records from DOD,
Okay.
the Department of Defense.
Okay.
Whatever branch of service you're in. Now, I remember when the Army used to give you your records at discharge, and it was your responsibility to take them to the VA. But
Wow.
now they don't give you your records. They just, they give you that discharge, and they tell you got to get your records from the archives.
Okay.
The National Archives have military records of every branch of the military. So I want to put that in there because I want people to understand what you're saying is true. Really, they don't know anything about you, but there was nobody that'll tell you what to do. And the VA should have informed you.
That's right.
That's the way you got your records, but they don't do that. Okay.
So I wanted to come back in on that when you said that because I was also told, I don't know how true it is, that the records got burnt up. That
yes, that's
okay.
true. That's
okay.
true too.
Okay.
But that was
okay.
the records that got burned up was that group between Vietnam and Korea.
Okay.
It was thousands of records burned up now, but the VA should have also told you that is a process to recreate your military service. So go ahead. I just want to kind of inform people that you go through this because you got people going through it now.
Right.
You got people going through the same thing right now.
Yeah.
Mr. Dixon, you went in service in 1978. You were a young person at that time.
Yes, I sure was.
What caused you to go in there?
Well, I always had this childhood dream to. First of all, my father is from Atlanta, Georgia. He was one of the first original 8 black police officers. So,
wow.
Yeah, and the late Major Claude Dixon. And so I followed behind my father. I was a little tomboy, and I wanted to do everything. I was my daddy's girl. And so I wanted to be an officer, a police officer, and I also wanted to be in the military. And I wanted to work for the airline, so I followed suit in all of that. I ended up being corrections in Atlanta and going into the military. So it was a childhood dream for me to always want to be in the military.
Wow, that's quite a bit of history, too, about those 8 first black police officers here in Atlanta. That's a bit of history within itself.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a story.
Yeah.
Okay. But, wow.
Okay, now one of the things that you've been through when you first filed to the VA. Now, what was that? response? What was that response? That they didn't have your records?
They did. They did. The very beginning is when I again met you, Pastor McGhee, and they kept shooting back my paperwork saying I'm sending it to the wrong place, and so it's like I was just out there in the water again. But I kept saying no, I cannot throw in the towel. And then talking to one of my friends, she, again, like I said earlier, she passed the number on to me, and then I found a representative. So now I'm at the place where I'm waiting to get, I guess, the number to see what percentage that I'm gonna get.
Okay.
So from that, I was also blessed to get all the help that I needed from my PTSD, from my military sexual trauma. Went through mindful classes. Also, the VA has sent me a tablet, and it just makes me feel proud to know you know who I am. So I'm using your tablet, and I got my ID, and I done got me some help for my military, sexual trauma and my depression and PTSD. I'm just so grateful.
Now you said something. I'm gonna tell you something else. Something that has always bothered me, and I'm sure it bothered every brother that's in the military that wasn't involved with this kind of stuff. How commands sergeants and abuse females, sexual trauma, and for a long time wouldn't recognize it, wouldn't even recognize it. So you guys had to fight, fight to get that legislatively recognized. So that's something that we really want to focus people on, because there is still so many of our sisters and go into the military and abuse, and they cover it up. They have a tendency to cover up these kind of things, and we need to be able to speak out so people know. That's why I'm saying communication with your family during military service is absolutely essential. It's absolutely essential, because see, you shouldn't have had to fight this fight alone. You shouldn't have had to fight this fight alone. So I'm just delighted that you are fighting. But that's you know what, I'm gonna just say to him. That's where folks from Atlanta do. That's we fight till we win. I'm gonna just say this: it took me 16 calendar years to be service connected, and I was in combat.
Okay. I'm curious. I'm curious, Mr. Dixon. When you first approached the VA, did you go directly to the VA? Did you go through another VSO, or you did it yourself directly to the VA?
Yeah. Well, again, goes back to Pastor McGhee giving me paperwork, but I still was green. I didn't know. So I went straight to the VA.
Okay.
And the first thing there, again, telling me that they have no record. They didn't know anything about me. But this is like after I sent the paperwork off to these different places. Okay. And then I went out to the VA. And they said, there's nothing we can do for you.
Okay.
Okay,
I understand that. I think it's so important to point out to some of the veterans who might be listening in.
Right.
It's so important to go to an intermediary for this, some other organization to present your case rather than go directly to the VA. Go through a DAV or
a representative that can help
Veterans
you.
of America, VVA, or something like that.
Right.
It's a much better path than trying to go there, especially if you don't know anything.
Absolutely.
Like most veterans don't.
Right.
It's better to do that, but that's hindsight now in your case.
Well, but Jimmy, let me say this to you.
Okay.
Let me say this to you and the audience, that a lot of these organizations, a lot of them, BSOs, with your factual background of military service, the short period of service, they'll tell you, because that's in the regs. It's not like they was telling you wrong, right? It's in the regs, but nobody told you the exception. Now I regret that I had to close my church. We had some closing the church, so we lost contact. But I'm glad that you kept fighting. That's the key point. That you keep fighting, because see, every year when VA allocation come up, budget, to change the rules and regulations.
Mm.
Right now, as we go on this show talking, they got congressmen that's trying to change the criteria for PTSD.
Mm.
Right this minute in Congress.
Mm.
So we need to be aware that this BA is a rolling process, right? And the BSOs, they so over here and over there, and they don't even communicate with each other.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm gonna just say this: we're trying to change that scenario because we have established a call to unity.
Mm-hmm.
But veterans, and that means the BSOs need to become more communicative with each other.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell you what, Tony and I have been going out to BSO meetings,
Mm-hmm.
and they ain't even respond.
Wow.
They haven't even responded to our outreach.
Wow.
As a VSO now, we weren't just going out there as me and Tony. We're going out there as Vietnam Veterans of America, the Atlanta chapter, talking to Tony. You about to say something?
No, go ahead. You got it. Mine is a slightly different topic, but go ahead.
Yeah, but it's important that people know when Jimmy say reach out to these folks, reach out to them. But if they tell you some stuff that you can't move forward,
Mm-hmm.
just keep doing what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm gonna tell you something. Every law got a loophole.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. What she's explained the experience being a female,
Mm-hmm.
those of us of color,
Mm-hmm.
we experience racism.
Mm-hmm.
Outright racism. And I remember one of the barracks that I was in doing basic training. The TIs basically turned off the lights and said, "Y'all guys work this out."
Mm.
And there were a few scrimmages, but then we realized, well, we didn't realize, we knew we could kick butt. But those white guys found out that we could kick butt.
Yeah.
And everything changed from that point on. And that was a traumatic experience, particularly for those of us who had never had a relationship with these white guys.
Mm-hmm.
All we knew was what we saw before we came in.
Mm-hmm.
But all of that, we had no idea the type of racist attitude that we were dealing with.
Yeah.
To the point when we lined up, they didn't want to stand behind us. And you could, but then that was the attitude.
Mm-hmm.
And so we were pulled aside by a pretty good TI, and he explained the rules. If you don't want to abide by these rules, you need to go home because this is the rule, and this is only a part of what you're going to be doing in the military. So that guy standing next to you, in front of you, behind you, he may be the guy that's going to save your life. That was one of the more moving experience, and it changed the attitude because all of the guys in the platoon that I served in were from the South. And they didn't want anything to do with us.
Mm.
But that changed about a third of the way through basic training.
Yeah.
And it was one of those things where a couple of times the TI just walked out and closed the door and said, "You guys work this out." And after a couple of butt kickings, we worked it out. Yeah, the attitude changed,
Yeah.
But it was a learning experience for all of us. Yeah.
Yeah, and speaking of racism, Tony, it's so relevant. But then, Miss Dixon, when you went to the VA, I don't know when it was, but here in Atlanta, that VA, you went to the Claremont VA out there. Back then, I don't know, 78, 1980, that VA was one of the most racist organizations around.
Wow.
So when you go directly to them, you got a roadblock right there because the VA itself, not the VSOs that you're going through third party going to them, but going directly to that VA was a roadblock because they were at their head racist, and you ran into that roadblock back in the late 70s, 80s.
Wow.
It's better now, but when I first went there, I first went there like 2007. Just I'd been disabled for 40 years.
Wow.
I didn't need anything but I just went there, and the lady told me that this place is racist here, and there was a white lady that's working with DAV at that time. But so anyway, I'm glad you got through that.
Yeah.
Well, when you talk about the Atlanta VA, I first went to the Atlanta VA in 1969. 1969. Wounded in combat. and it's in my medical records in my files right now. I was told, and I went to the VA, and I was told that I experienced a little anxiety after I was being wounded, but I was all right because of the way I dressed. But racism is still in existence today. I want you to take a look at the White House and what's going on right now as we speak. So we got to understand, we fought it then, we got to fight it now. And we got to, one of the things I can say about folks out the South, we don't have no problem fighting it. We just don't have no problem fighting it. They overcome the barriers that they put up against us with, not just with VA benefits, with disability benefits, but using some of the other VA benefits. I'm an advocate for veterans home loans, right? And I bought a home over on Walters Road about 4 years ago, and I just learned through Jimmy that I moved on the street that they actually the street named after the guy that said that he didn't want no Negroes buying his property.
Well, he didn't just say that. He put it in an ordinance on my deed. Just that thing.
Really?
It's
I
on
mean,
my deed.
so we
not sell or resell to anyone of African descent.
So racism ain't nothing.
That's right here in Georgia.
Yeah.
But that went away in 1954, by the way, with Brown overturned Plessy.
But they got it redlining now. I mean, they still doing it, Jimmy. It's just a different way. They and we have to understand that. That's why it's so critical that we fight the rejections. I don't care what level we encounter them on. We have to fight them. We have to challenge them because I can remember when Pete Wheeler started the Georgia Department of Veteran Services, right? And I went down there to try to get some. They told me, well, boy, if you didn't come out of the military with a disability, you ain't got them. I mean, straight up, I'm now for a while. I got another story to tell about that. But I didn't stick and stay. I didn't have the capacity to stick and stay and fight that rejection. Right? I went another way. And so do a lot of black people. So do a lot of poor white people. When we get misinformation or being misguided by the, we got to roll back and say this in. At one time in this country, only rich white folks had a say. No, let me say rich white men. I'm sorry, rich white men. White women didn't have a say either because they didn't have a vote. But through our resistance, we got changes coming, and we are at this point right now where we are up against that racist mentality that we grew up with in Atlanta, that we've been fighting all of our lives. So what is so essential today is that we communicate this out to people. Now, Tony and I did a video. And it's on sonsofAtlanta.org too. It's on sonsofAtlanta.org. I want everybody to get a chance to go look at this video. Now, this video, we just straight up dealt with the problem of racism in the military and after the military. Because it's a conversation that we cannot shrink away from. If we're going to have change, and we're getting changes. We're getting changes. We're getting changes. So we got to keep this communication. Tony turned his head. I need that communication.
They're still working at it, Tony.
Yeah. We're getting that.
Yeah.
But the fight isn't over.
No.
The fight is not over. At one point we felt we were making a lot of progress and everything until we are now encountering this new administration. And it's almost a turn back to where it was years ago, where we were fighting discrimination. The idea of sitting and watching a president remove all black leading military people
Mm.
from
Help us.
the
My Lord.
deciding,
Help
from
us.
those that are making decisions about the country's
True.
future, not
True.
just
True.
blacks
True.
and everything.
It's really scary.
And it's really
Yeah.
scary
Well,
because
now-
there is no pushback.
Now, see, I'm gonna tell you something. Y'all ain't got,
Okay.
tell y'all something. When you say scary, y'all ain't scared. You're scared of what you gonna do.
Right. Yeah.
I want to say, when I want people to understand, veterans that done been through this ain't scared. They're scared what they gonna do.
Yes.
And that's key, really,
Mhm.
because what this guy has gotten himself in a predicament where he's in control of our government, and he is setting it up in a way with all of his cronies, all of his people that are ideologues for him, which are racist. And so we got to recognize this and strategize, organize,
And mobilize.
and mobilize.
We just can't sit back
We can't
and
sit back
allow
with-
this to
We
happen.
can't sit back and allow it to happen.
And the country is sitting here watching it happen.
Yeah.
And those of us who side,
Paralyzed.
those of them who side with them, they don't have a problem with it. They don't see the error of their ways.
Yes.
They have no view of what this country had made it to until his inauguration.
Yeah.
And they
But
want,
see, I'm thinking that this what it was when he came into power. It was a recognition that they had found a leader that they've been waiting for and planning for. If we go back now, the Heritage Foundation,
there you go.
the
Straight
federal
out of the Birch
Birch Society. Yeah,
John Birch.
so we had to
That's where
understand,
they came
look
from,
back
John
at that
Birch.
history and understand when he came to power, they said, "Oh my God, this is who we've been waiting on."
Exactly.
Reverend McGhee, let me dive back into Miss Dixon here.
Okay,
Just
go
Okay,
ahead.
yes,
Okay.
great.
Yeah,
Wanna know,
it's
since
getting
you're
good.
our special guest.
Mhm.
How what kind of experience you had in the military, and how did that affect your life today? Have any positives from that?
Well, I wanted to tap in on the racism.
Okay.
It was a drill sergeant that that was white,
Mhm.
and for a long time, that was put in my Pandora box. To whereas family, nobody knew.
Mhm.
And again, I think about what Pastor McGhee said, letting the family know it needs to change because, of course, they tell you I'm your mother and your father, your sister, brother, you do what I tell you to do. So I had no say.
Mhm.
The lights got cut off, work it out. This happened to you, put it in the Pandora box, and so that all those years from 78 up until now, I wouldn't talk about it.
Okay.
I was angry
Uh-huh.
at men. I was angry at the military.
Uh-huh.
I was ashamed. But now today I can talk about it because I got help.
Okay.
I don't have a problem with it. So what I've learned from that is that it wasn't my fault. I was a victim. But
okay.
finding out that all that was going on in my life after all of that happened and affected me in, being a young girl and going through that, it damaged me all these years. I'm 70 years old.
Oh, absolutely.
All these years I've been holding this in this
hostility.
in this little, so there was a lot of hostility. Now, finding a veteran, again, like Pastor McGhee, who cared about his soldiers. He was also in the military, and that's who the young lady introduced me to, and I reached out to him, and he's full force in making sure no man is left behind. He's gonna fight the good fight to the end. He's gonna fight these people till you get what you can get. So the experience of it as a young girl wanting to be in the military, it was great for me in the beginning.
Okay.
Like you asked me that. But then once this happened and you come back to civilian life, you got this secret in your box that you can't tell your mother, your father, your sister, brother, nobody else. And you feel like you was the cause of it. So that part of it didn't sit well with me concerning the military. No, I didn't have a good experience from that now, So yeah, that's what happened to me. But now today, being able to talk about this, getting the help that I need, I feel proud and honored now because I told y'all in the beginning that I got the kind of help that I got the kind of help that I needed, and being recognized as, you know, a soldier that had been in the military.
It was quite a few years before you sought help. Like 15, 20 years
No.
after your service.
No. You got it. I'm 70.
Uh-huh.
This happened to me in 78.
Uh-huh.
Nobody knew this up until last year, 2025.
Wow. Okay.
So
that's
I've had all of this, and that's why I said in the Pandora box with the key,
Okay. 78.
and never wanted to tell anybody and talk about it because I felt like I told somebody, they wouldn't believe me,
Right,
you know.
Right.
So
See, and that's the communication that I want. You know, and I want to just salute my grandson and all the young people that's serving in the U.S. military.
Amen. Pray for him every
It's
day.
important.
Yeah.
It's critical. Not only that you communicate with your family while you going through military service, not just about the good things when you're getting promoted and sending them pictures where you're getting promoted, but when you are being demoted. You know, there's a lot of that going on with attitudes, and you know, especially now, probably more than ever before. But we got to make sure that our people, our loved ones that's in the military, is communicating with us.
Isn't that a form of post-traumatic stress?
Yeah, that's what it is. I share that with you too because my PTSD was diagnosed like 40 years after I got out of Vietnam.
Right.
I had all that held up in me for 40 years, and I had a breakdown. Went to the hospital, went to a psychiatrist, but it was 40 years after the fact, and yours looked like, just looking at here, you're talking about 50 years or so.
Right.
With all that emotion pent up inside me.
And let me jump in there right quick. The young man that's representing me, when he first laid eyes on me, he already knew I had PTSD from the get up. And he said, now to see how you have evolved, you're a totally different person. But I didn't know what the PTSD meant. You know, I always know I was going through depression, but I had it again hid. And like you said, your 40 years and my 50 years had no idea.
Had no idea.
And I've heard of PTSD, but I had no idea what none of that was. You know? Again, like Reverend McGhee said earlier, these things need to be told to you through VAs and through your VOs and different things like that.
Yeah. Now, you know, it requires a professional person to set eyes on you. I can't say that the VA neglected me or this or that or other, because me, I had it held in me and didn't seek help and didn't know to seek help until I had a breakdown.
Gotcha.
Then I went to professional folks to then the VA kind of took a look at me. But I can't just blame them.
Right.
All set, you see.
Right.
Because, but yeah, you 50 years of that.
Yeah.
My goodness.
Yeah.
But what positive takes that you get from the military? You said in the first couple of years you really enjoyed your experience because you were drawing on following your father's footsteps and stuff like that. So,
well, the positive part of it, again, like I said, growing up, you know, in the black homes, you know, and respect from your grandparents, and they teaching you things, you know, I had a lot of respect. Because it taught you how to be a better person. It taught you how to be a soldier. It taught, again, you know, like you said, a discipline. And that was the positive thing about it is being aware, being assured of yourself, you know, knowing your worth and your, you know, but again, the flip side of it was the damage. Yeah.
Well, let me say this. People talk about PTSD. They don't understand what you're talking about.
Okay.
It is a stress disorder. I'm bleeding right now. I was just discharged from the hospital this week for PTSD. It causes bleeding ulcers. It causes heart conditions. It causes hypertension. And I'm not just saying this. This is what I've been diagnosed with from the VA. You know, well, my first diagnosis was not from the VA. It was from the U.S. Department of Bureau of Prisons. Because PTSD cause you to have a different perspective than normal. You would do things that, and paranoia, and that sense of paranoia will make you do stuff that you wouldn't normally do as a person. So PTSD is not just something that you just rattle off and you just keep inwardly, because it's causing an explosion. You're going to either explode or implode. So I want people to understand the seriousness of PTSD. It's a disorder that stays with you forever. There is really no cure for PTSD. There are management techniques that they can give you to manage that. So I stay away from triggers.
That's it. That's it.
I get triggered. And I'm either explode or implode.
Yeah.
So we need people to really understand that this is no just something that you want to do that you can endure, because they right now before Congress trying to say once you're on medication, your disability can be reduced.
Yeah, I heard that. I
want people to understand this.
It don't go away.
We're trying to make sure you understand the fullness of these problems that we have, because sometimes people make light of them, and they're not light.
I was telling Ebony on the way over here how, we were talking about what's going on in Atlanta, and I gave her a point. I said, I don't do crowds. I stand on the outside and I watch, because that's my PTSD. I said, and another thing I don't do, I don't like my back to be turned to a door. I'm always trying to be watchful. She said, yeah, that's a good idea. I need to bring it, I need to be more aware of it. And she said, the more I've been around military people, I noticed that about them. They don't, like you said, the triggers, they don't like, being open. They like to be where they can see everything around them and get out as soon as they can. So yeah.
Actually, I was in a coma because of the PTSD.
Bless you.
So I want people to fully understand that it's not just something that you hold inwardly. When you're holding it inwardly, it is doing damage to your systems.
Wow.
So it's not like it's
me
just something that you can mildly take advantage of, because we got young people right now being in harm's way that are being traumatized with PTSD.
Yes.
Yeah, and there's so many different variables that make up PTSD. And then there's so many different, and then each person's position or PTSD is unique within his environment. So you have to be careful. You look at all these people with PTSD, all of them got diagnosis for this, that, and the other, but yet and still, his PTSD is entirely different from mine because of his own situation, his own personal situation, and that is a variable that's different in each of us. So but perseverance is how are you doing now today?
Again, like I said, today, I can face that demon, call his name. I can face the fact that, again, early on in my conversation, that it's not my fault, that I am now victorious. I'm not a victim. I have accomplished. I'm able to talk about it. So I'm in a place now that I look forward of the day when I get the number to know what my disability is. And so I'm in a good place, because I wouldn't have dared stood here around you men and said anything about that, because I couldn't stand you. Okay, don't play with me. I couldn't stand you.
Well, we want to make I want to make a point of the fact that's never ending.
Yeah.
It will never end. As long as you're taking a breath, you're going to be dealing with that. And that's what we got to let the legislators know. Okay, you give us a percentage, but that doesn't end it. They're continuing to deal with that post-traumatic stress for as long as they're breathing. And so to put a number on it, financially, but to diagnose it and say it's been treated, no. There is no real treatment
No real
for
cure.
it,
That's
and there
treatment
is
for
no
the
cure.
real cure.
You know, you're going to be treated for the reaction, but you'll never be treated for
You'll
the
never be
actual
cured.
event that created it.
And that
And so now this person, and the interesting thing about that is she's only one.
Yeah.
Look at all the females that we knew in the military that may have been happening to them, but they never said a word.
never said a word.
They were
Yeah.
speechless.
Speechless.
And the sad part about it is the numbers that took it to their grave. And nobody knew. The family didn't understand. We sent this girl to the military and she was great. But when she came back, we didn't know her and we never got to know her. You know, and that's the responsibility of the federal government and the military because they created that situation, you know, and they allowed it to happen. And so you can't say that we have an answer. We don't have an answer. This is going to be something that they are going to be dealing with, and you're going to be dealing with until you take your final breath.
Yeah. Well, I got two things to say, Tony, right quick.
Go.
On that one is that my representative, he was representing one of his clients, and after going before the board and everything, trying to find out, you know, the last final to find out, you know, what you're going to get, he told them his PTSD was healed. And he said, no way. So he lost everything, but now they going back again, you know, before them, because like you said, it's never going to go away. Then the second thing is that I have a niece that went into the Navy. Beautiful young lady, did about 4 years. Something happened so dramatic. Nobody know but her mother. She wanted to kill herself, but whatever it was, she was put in the hospital. She won't go get no help. She says nothing wrong with her. Whatever it was that happened to her in the Navy, she is not the same person again. She won't go get no of this benefits. You know, she has 3 children. The fathers end up raising the boys. She had 3 boys. She won't go get no help. She say nothing wrong with her. And again, she gone.
Yeah.
Mine gone.
Yeah.
Well, let me say this. All of that is true. But there is life after PTSD. There is a way that we can learn to manage. There's a way to learn to manage. And act pretty normal as long as you can stay away from the triggers.
That's
You know, the reality of it is that too many, right now, too many veterans and dependents are struggling and suffering because of their service-related conditions. And the VA is failing us. They've been failing us and going to continue to fail us until we come together. Until we stop and realize that there are ways that we can fight back. We've been doing a lot of stuff over the years. You know, I'd be blessed to be able to say I can manage my PTSD in most cases, but you know, obviously I can't manage them in every case because I just came out of the hospital and still bleeding. And what people don't know that the claim system is actually overwhelmed, and it's been reorganized. And I like a lot of things that took place in the reorganization of the claim system, but this undermanned. You know, we don't have enough people that have been trained to file claims. And we just went through a training class, training where I actually trained 12 people that started out with 14, 12 finished, and it's only 6 are really right now trying to stick and stay because the VA has not set up the exam. See, now what has happened, let me say this so people understand. 20 years ago, a lawyer would get paid $10 to help a veteran with a claim. Today, they can get up to 40% of that disability back pay because they set up a thing called intent to file, right? And what that means that, once you start a claim, you file an intent to file, and when they finish the claim, which is usually within a year, you get back pay, and the lawyers get paid. Now they set up a new construct. It's called VA claim agents. And what that does, it allows people that are not attorneys to also represent veterans and get that same predicament, which is a construct that could generate $150,000 a year income. I think they looked at our zip code, and they're stalling to certify these 12 people that we just trained, Tony. You remember the graduation? They just trained. And I say they're trained to be the best because I think my experience over the years made me one of the best. And I don't have any bragging about it. I got clients that can testify to the fact that when I take their case, I work it to the win. And that's something that's needed in our community, and I've just trained these folks. But we're gonna look at our elected representatives now, and veterans groups got to come together too, because we all know this. But they seeing us separated. Like this group is scared to network with this group, and they're not paying us any attention. We got to give our votes some sense. We are actually the largest swing vote in city, county, state, and federal elections every time. Because we are not, basically, most of us are not a party affiliated. We're what they call independents. I vote with the Democrats most of the time because it's the lesser of the two evils. And I know that, some of the stuff that they do is constitutional. I have voted with the Republican, the old Republicans, not this new crew. You know what I mean? This new crew, I don't think are actually Republicans. They're dictators. They're coming at our Constitution.
They Dixiecrats.
Well,
They're taking
That's a
over
good
the
one.
Republican Party.
Well,
What I
I'm
mean,
thinking that they're Antichrist, really.
That's a good one
I'm
too.
thinking they're a little bit deeper than Dixiecrats, because some of them ain't from the South. They got a lot of them up north, so they're all over the country. But we outnumber them. But what you got to understand, they have cornered our economics. We just looking at the media. Mongo just really bought up all the media. Now what free press gonna look like? One of the biggest things that we got to recognize is that because of social media, these people have been able to galvanize the political body and take over. Really just take over. But veterans can change all of this. Because I'm going to say one thing I know about all of us veterans. We're going to go vote no matter what.
No matter what.
We're going to go vote no matter what. We
Yeah.
need to come together and form block votes across these elections. So that we can make the decision about who's actually elected in our government. Because we see this crew that's in the government right now, they have no respect for the Constitution. And they are using our tax money like it's theirs, Jimmy.
Tony, don't start.
I mean, this is taxation without representation.
Down your lane there.
Did we hear that before taxation without representation? We are facing a 250 year of this country's constitutional law. Now we are faced with the reality that minorities in this country, and poor whites, the minorities and poor people, about to lose their sense of participation in the government. We don't have no word in the government unless veterans come together. I'm talking about veterans of all hue.
Yes.
We outdid racism. Most of us, right? We outdid racism. you still got this clique that's in the race that he done took and made in charge of our military, but that clique don't control the military. Because what, Jimmy? 40% is brown now?
Well, yeah, probably about that.
About 40% is
Wow.
brown.
Yeah.
You know, so
Yeah.
and then the other 20% is poor, working class people. We need to wake up, America. We need to understand what we're up against. We are militarily trained people. We are militarily able to think past this onslaught that got everybody thinking, well, what we gonna do? But they paralyzed.
Yeah. One of the.
Now, I mean, I'm moving on to another space. We done interrogated D enough. We got that point.
Jimmy got some more for me. I know.
No, we had to go past that right now because see, the show is coming to an end. We only got an hour. Tony, brother, listen, what's going on with this memorial and the brick sale at the memorial? Well, I mean, that's your
The thing about the memorial that's really, really good is the word is getting out. The word is getting out about the actually existence of the memorial. There are a lot of people that have heard talk about it, but never realizing that it is visible from Piedmont Road. Yeah. And going back, and then they're totally mesmerized by the fact that something like that exists to memorialize the sons of Atlanta. And so now you're finding more people wanting to be a part of it, or just curious about it and everything. And the thing that I used when talking about it was that everybody in this city probably had somebody who served in the military in their family circle. Here's an opportunity to honor those people that served and become a part of a permanent memorial that exists, as you say, in one of the most visited parks in the city of Atlanta. And so that's what's going on. The other great thing about it is the promotionals that Ebony is putting out.
Yes.
They are very, I was blown away. I'm going like, she's good. And she's making a visual of the points that we have been talking about. But now they can see a person talking about this memorial in front of them. It's not something that's going to happen. It exists now. And they people are saying, oh, I didn't know they had this. Or I didn't know you could contribute. I didn't know you could. But now we're making that point. And so we're seeing the interest grow. And so, yeah.
And I'm going to tell you something. Yesterday, Thursday, I think. Yeah, Thursday. I had a young lady call me from the University of Georgia. And she said she wanted to do an interview with me now. I'm saying I have people calling like that all the time since we got this thing going. She wanted to interview me. Then she said, because you're the visionary for the memorial, and I want to interview. So now I didn't cut out here. I'm recovering. So I gave it to Ebony, and she developed it, and I went down to the memorial to do the interview. It's all over social media now.
Yes.
Wow.
I mean, this was a young lady from University of Georgia whose father has been coming down to the memorial and told her about it. So she wanted to do an interview with me about the memorial. So we stood in front of the Call to Unity.
Yeah.
And it's all over Facebook now. So I'm saying we ain't just talking about the issues. We coming up with solutions to the issues.
Yes.
We cannot come up like crybabies, like some of these. Listen, man, I'm so sick of some of these Democrats with their whining, and they won't even look at the fact that most of the people that are swaying votes right now, they ain't even campaigning to them, and that's Veterans Against This War.
Yeah.
They're all listen. Why don't they suit up and put boots on the ground? You cause the wall, go lead it. I tell you what, if Trump and Pete would get in uniform, I'll go with them. I'll follow.
And their children too.
Yeah, and their children too. See, what we got to be able to do is make sense out of a sense of situation. These folks, these are the billionaires. Oh, well, I mean. the veterans got to stop just talking about stuff and look at how we strategize, how we look at how we gonna combat this stuff, because it's taking over our lives. Listen, we hear more about Trump than we do about Jesus.
Yeah.
You know, come on.
That's true. That's true.
Like he's some kind of power. We giving him too much space. And these cronies that's with him. See, I mean, it's you know what? I mean, I'm gonna say this right here. Mitch McConnell said something that I need all these mega people to listen to. Say Trump was the biggest con man that he had ever seen, and he has conned these folks into letting billionaires take over a government. He goes to China to talk about the war in Iran, right? And start dancing when he got back. What did he do? Who did he take to China with him?
Yep. Deep pockets.
Listen, money can't buy freedom. Money can't buy freedom.
Money is awful corrosive, though. I'll say that. I mean, it can buy a lot of things, but it is awful corrosive. And that's what's going on now with this character just became a trillionaire yesterday. With some stock that's been losing billions of dollars.
Well,
that stock ain't worth a nickel.
What we got to do, we see all of this. Why are we not calling upon our brothers and sisters of a different hue to come up and vote a way that we can do? We still got the vote there. You know, I mean, I know how powerful money is because Mao said it during Vietnam. He who controls the purse string controls everything, but he don't control God.
Amen.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying this here. I'm not gonna look at money and think that's the power of all. It's not the power of all. It might be corrosive. It might be influential. And I know we got a lot of people been bought, bamboozled, and bullied. But I ain't one of them.
Yeah. Hosea Williams used to say, I use that phrase, I'm not bought, bullied, or bamboozled, but every time you turn around, Hosea had a pocket full of money. I don't know where he got that money from or what was the connection to it, but he did come into a lot of money. That's all I got to say, y'all.
But the brother went to school. Listen, wait a minute. Hold up. Well, I'm finna come at that because Jose was one of my mentors, and I'm gonna say this here. Jose owned a chemical company right now that's funding Jose Help.
Yeah.
You know, so he got a lot of money, but he wasn't influenced by it. He did what he did for the people. You know, so I don't want the insinuations there because if you do it, I'm gonna address it because we get too much of that now.
All I know
is listen,
Hosea had a lot of money. He said it was unbought and unbought.
But he was unbought and unbought. He was unbought and unbought. He's still doing stuff. What he done is still producing help for our community right now.
I absolutely miss him today.
I'm just saying. Look at what he's doing. His company, a company he created, is still helping our people today. So what he did with his money, I can see it. I believe that's what he did with it. Where he got it, he made it.
Okay, well,
he made it. So,
all right,
we had that point where me and Jimmy gonna always clash on that.
That's okay.
See,
Miss Dixon want to thank you though.
When we start looking at what veterans talk is, it's just veterans talking to veterans and the community about all things veterans and community.
Yes.
And when I started the show, when I created the show, that's what I wanted it to do. I wanted to have people come on to have different opinions about stuff, but I'm not finna, let nobody talk about my hero. I'm not gonna let you take Martin Luther King down because somebody talked about him.
Pastor McGhee said, "Don't let the smooth taste fool you." Exactly. Said, "Don't play with it."
We're gonna stay with Jose.
I still got some
gonna say
to ride in my stride. Don't
Listen,
play with it now.
Listen, I'm gonna say this. And Jose, one of the reasons I got out of prison. I ain't gonna say that, because I mean the brothers spoke to truth to power.
Oh, no doubt. One of my favorite characters.
Yeah,
No doubt about it.
Truth to power.
Doesn't mean that you this or that.
But sometimes we got to realize words mean things. Well, how we say things might give somebody the impression that Jose was bold.
I never can't just sanctified or put somebody on a pedestal because they this or that. I mean, all of them are human, just like.
Yeah, but I don't think Jose was bold.
Who said it was?
You said you had money and you don't know where you got it from.
I said I did.
You did.
And I don't.
So you insinuating. You insinuating.
Oh no! You drew that inference.
Listen,
words
words
mean.
Listen,
that drew that.
Listen. Listen. I know what if I had you in the courtroom, bro. The emphasis are what you said they are.
What?
That Jose had the money. What would the jury do with that?
I don't know.
I know you don't know. That's what I'm saying.
I don't know.
Go your talk.
We want to invite everybody back next Saturday for an interesting, challenging conversation about veterans talk. And you just saw an example of it. Veterans talking about all things veteran. So until next Saturday, 4:15, we'll see you.
Jeez. Thank you so much.